Welcome back to Hoops HD, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 7th. That means it's time for our Under the Radar podcast. I'm your
Woohoo!
host, Chad Sherwood. Got David Griggs, Rocco Miller joining us from Bracketeer.org, and we are here to talk about 22 Under the Radar conferences, Griggs, correct?
Yes,
Oh,
still 22. We haven't. There is one team that's trying to reclassify or one conference, but their paperwork has not been approved and they have not started the transition yet.
right, yeah. So
Not
we're
yet.
not going to be talking about the Power Four conferences. We're not going to talk about the Big East. We're not going to be talking about the American, the A10, the Mountain West, or the West Coast Conference. On this show, we handle those Monday nights on the Hoops HD report. So, I mean, there have been some incredible games in the SEC. There have been incredible games in the Big East last few nights. Actually, the
Yeah,
last 2 days have been incredible. We're going to put all that aside for a minute, talk about
yeah,
them next week,
yeah.
and we're instead going to focus in on the rest of the leagues. And what we do is we go through all these conferences uh, in alphabetical order, if I can get my screen here to work. Uh, I'll work on getting that up running. But in alphabetical, other than we have a feature conference,
Chad is
and
remarkably unprepared tonight, ladies
I
and
am
gentlemen.
unprepared. Well, I just
Yeah,
accidentally turned off my little notepad here, but uh, I'm getting that rebooted. But as we do that, uh, we like to do a single feature conference every week. And given that, you know, a lot of people out there are talking about the end of the finale of Stranger Things that just happened with the Hawkins and the Upside Down. I figure there's a perfect day to start with the Upside Down Conference after 1 week of play. Of course, I'm talking about the MEAC. And
Yes.
we rarely, I don't, there's a lot of years we never even featured this conference, and this was just such a fun week in this conference that Rocco, I thought it was a great time to talk about this because we had two teams we were talking about. These are the two teams, and here they are both 0-1.
Right. Yeah. I think, Howard, first of all, has played pretty well up until this opener, getting a huge win at UNC Wilmington. And, not looking too terrible against Northwestern, hanging in there and losing by 20. So to just get crippled the way they did against South Carolina State, this is a South Carolina State program that replaced all those great players led by Eric Martin. Eric Martin, the head coach, but they had a great point guard there last year, and all these guys are young at South Carolina State. Just a great home win for the Bulldogs, 58-57. That one,
First, their
that
first D1 win of the season.
Yeah,
yes.
yes. And Norfolk State, of course, and NC Central have a great rivalry. If anybody in the audience is watching this and has not watched that game before, tune into it every time they play because it gets extremely rowdy. I think this one in particular maybe not as crazy because it's students still coming back, but the next one will be when they go to Norfolk. And NC Central held serve at home 69-67. I think the stunner of the group is a team that I got to announce twice in
Mhm.
Coppin State. Them being
On
Yes.
able
top of those other two games, we had this happen. Exactly.
Yeah, a 53-51 road win over the Hornets of Delaware State. So I think Coppin State came into the game 365th out of 365, at least in some of the analytics.
They
And
still
Most,
are.
so,
most.
yeah, which is like a big statement with Mississippi Valley still playing basketball. So kudos to Coppin State. I know Sweet had a big game in that one, even though they only scored 53 points. He scored a lot. So yeah, we have three really big surprises here.
And it was amazing. Again, not only was that South Carolina State's first win when they beat conference frontrunner Howard, the other conference frontrunner Norfolk, NC Central, that's their first D1 win. It just, I thought we'd have normalcy here, Griggs, in the first week of this conference, and,
Yeah.
and we'd be just be waiting until Howard and NC Central play each other later in the season to decide the regular season race. Who knows now in this conference? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where we are. It was just sort of in I don't like we don't normally see a lot of madness in this league, but we did this first week.
Right. And that puts us in a situation, let's see, going ahead here the next week here, we're going into games not again until Saturday, but now I don't know what to think here. Norfolk State going to
Yeah.
Delaware State, Howard going to Eastern Shore, who's the other team that picked up a win. Uh, uh,
Eastern.
I don't know what's going to happen anymore. I
Right.
don't.
I don't know. Was it just sort of like an anomaly and does normalcy return? Did it just sort of shake them awake to where maybe they sort of sleptwalked through the first game, didn't take it seriously, and now they take it super seriously? Or does it do something to give those teams like Eastern Shore and teams we weren't expecting much out of some momentum?
Well,
I don't know. What
who had NC Central versus Coppin State being a first place battle? The winner will be in first place.
Yeah.
had they opened against each other, I don't think we would have considered it a first place battle.
Ah, so this is going to be a conference that, yeah, well, like I said, if it was it just one of those strange weeks, or if this is really what we have all season, this could be a heck of a battle. And there is an advantage to getting to finishing the conference at the top. One team will get a bye into the semifinals because Coppin State will not be in the MEAC tournament due to their postseason ineligibility there. But
Yeah, I think it could stay pretty tight most of the year. Howard has probably the best defense, but Delaware State's defense is good as well. Like over the course of the last month, obviously the big question is can anybody make shots? Because all of these offenses rank in the 300s. I think NC Central's like 290. So
under the
it
Ken
really
Palm
makes it.
numbers, no, they're all three something in Ken Palm.
Right, right. I'm just looking at the last month right now, and it's there's not a lot of good offense in the league. So that just tells me, there's a lot of low scoring games coming our way, and you get a few shots to drop, and anybody can beat anybody.
And one of the things is you want to pay attention to who wins this conference because there's a very good chance that the first NCAA tournament game we're going to see this year, which will be one of those 16 versus 16 Dayton games, will involve this conference champion.
Yes,
Hmm.
that is a very safe bet.
It's just does this champion get the Tuesday or the Wednesday game? That'll be the
Right.
only
Yeah.
decision to be made there. Let's go through the rest of the leagues here. We're going to start off in the America East, and we have finally gotten into the beginning of conference play. Actually, UMBC hasn't even played a game yet. Uh, I guess the notable story here, Rocco, was Vermont went out and did what they needed to do in their first conference game, a dominant road win at New Hampshire.
They did. Yep. I think they handled them 80 to 61, and they're just on a different level. I know Vermont struggled in their loss to Princeton to close out non-conference. A little surprising there, and they didn't play well in a home loss to Iona. So the America East pretty down this year because even though Vermont's capable, they did play Princeton twice because they played them also in the Orlando tournament and beat them down there. But they're kind of if they're at Princeton's level, and Princeton we don't even know is if they're an Ivy League
Well, they're an Ivy
tournament.
League school.
They're not an Ivy League tournament team though.
Yeah.
Possibly there might be an Ivy League tournament bubble team, so that's not a good sign for the league. But I think UMBC has a chance. They've showed flashes this year. Bryant's the only team that beat a D1 team and didn't lose last week. So that shows you kind of where the league's at. Binghamton is really down, losing at home to NJIT to open up league play. So a lot of opportunity for these teams that don't really typically get the chances to break through if teams can just get better these next 4 to 6 weeks. So that's what I'm looking at. UMass Lowell looked like one of the worst teams in the country in November. They're even starting to pick up some wins now. So I think there's hope for everybody as long as they can start figuring it out. But it's really kind of been a sad year for Maine after a great year last year.
Yeah.
They've been awful. New Hampshire, not much better. So yeah, there's an opportunity for like the Albanys and the UMBCs and maybe even UMass Lowell, who knows, to take a bid this year.
All right. Vermont, they only have one game this week. They're playing Thursday night. They're hosting Binghamton. They'll be off. They'll be the team that's off over the
Yeah.
weekend.
And I think they blow through that one.
Griggs, over in the A-Sun Conference,
Oh
where
boy.
we now have five teams that are all going to have to 2-0 start. So that's a pretty nice start to for the top half of those
Yeah,
teams
for a
there.
league that's known for its parity, it's a couple teams starting to establish themselves. Austin P and Lipscomb seem to be, or I like them more than anyone else that I've seen. Last week, I was clinging hard to my preseason pick in Eastern Kentucky, saying that now that they're in conference play, they might start to pick it up and rack up some wins. They have not done that, and they are one of, God, what a disappointing team that they have. But how about Queens? If you're looking, I'm not as sold on West Georgia or Central Arkansas. I know that they're up there at 2-0. West Georgia, kind of a fun story, a recent transition team, uh, having a really, really good year for a transitional team. Uh, I like this Queens team.
Yeah, I agree with you. But a note here, we look at what happened in the first two games. Only team that lost home games was North Alabama. They went 0-2 at home, but they're not good either. So that's not
Yeah.
too surprising. But so we're not even seeing any road wins really. But I agree with you. I think this Queens team is a team that might be there at the end of the day. We'll maybe find out more now that we get everybody out there for some road games also
Yeah.
this week. Uh, Starting here with, I guess you want to talk Queens. They've got these. Well, probably Rock probably the easiest road trip in the conference though at Jacksonville at North Florida this week.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, North Florida's really down. They've lost six in a row to D1 schools. Jacksonville has lost five in a row. So, yeah, you're right lately. But those teams haven't played a lot of home games either. So I'm sure both the Ospreys and Dolphins are looking forward to being home. I think the big story also in the week was Stetson's opening night upset over North Alabama, but then North Alabama loses again. Really struggling with some injuries. Are the Lions a team that's got to win at San Francisco? Got some other good wins in non-conference. We'll see if they can get back to full strength because they are really, really going through a rough time right now. And great win for Stetson. They needed something and they got it, but then they go to Central Arkansas and get blasted. Central Arkansas, a good week one story, beating that Stetson team that felt good coming in pretty badly, and then they also beat Florida Gulf Coast, a team that a lot of people had winning the league start of the year. So great start for the Bears.
Yeah, I think two interesting games this week actually involving Gulf Coast. They're hosting the Austin P. Lipscomb combination. Uh,
Yeah.
I think that those are the two games I'm probably circling for this week. Although we'll see what
Yeah.
Central Arkansas does with their road trip to Eastern Kentucky as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm with you on that. I'm interested to see what both of them do. I still like this Lipscomb team a lot.
Yeah,
uh,
Lipscomb's playing very well lately.
Yeah.
Rocco, I think maybe we
Oh
should go
boy.
back we should go
Oh
back
boy.
to the upside down one more time here
Oh D.
for the Big Sky, where Northern
Oh
Colorado.
boy.
Wow, they win at Colorado, and what do they do? Turn around to start conference play, get swept on the Montana road trip.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, I think they did their best to represent the Big Sky this last week. To prove to everybody how good the Big Sky is, they had to go lose to the Montana schools. So mission accomplished. Nice job, Bears. I mean, yeah, good offensive team. We've talked about the Northern Colorado team a lot, but Montana and Montana State both had a little too much offense. They didn't get enough stops. That's where the Bears' weaknesses really lies. I think they're last in the country in forcing turnovers. So when you give the opposition that many possessions, there's an opportunity there to make the Bears pay, and that's what both the Bobcats and Grizzlies did. I think Montana State's a team that
Yeah, pull up
lost.
Montana State.
They lost a lot of games in the non-conference, but
Yeah.
they were close. They scared the daylights out of Utah State,
Yes.
and they went to overtime. Could have won that game. I talked to the Utah State staff about that game in particular, and they had thought they were going to lose that game at
Well,
several times.
yeah, if you watched Montana State, and I think we said in the write-up the next day that Montana State kind of blew that game. Not to take
Yeah.
anything away from Oklahoma or from Utah State, but they did. But Montana State, we've kind of had our eyes on them. Real competitive at Boise, real competitive at Colorado, albeit Northern Colorado actually won there. They did have, I mean, that game against Denver that they lost smells really bad, and I think that had us holding
Eh.
our noses. But while they don't have the wins, this was a team that we thought had a pulse. This one didn't surprise me, but losing to the Grizz kind of did.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
Montana has done something though that no other team in the nation has done. They lost to an NAIA school. I mean,
Yeah.
that just a couple of weeks ago, Montana loses a home game to Montana Tech, and they turn around and beat that Northern Colorado team. But I think the other story in this conference, Portland State starts out the conference with a pair of overtime road wins at Idaho State and at Weaver
Yeah.
State. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
that was
Rocco.
phenomenal. That was phenomenal. They got a nice little write up from me earlier this week. Just the way that they won both of those games was pretty phenomenal. Up and down game in the opener with Weber at altitude. So you just figure, okay, great win, Portland State. Now you got to go to Pocatello. Idaho State's got some talent this year, and you're probably just out of gas and happy with the split. But nope. Portland State grinded and grinded and grinded, and kudos to Jalen Henderson who had a great week. You know, in the 95-90 win, in that first one he played all 45 minutes. I think he played nearly all 45 minutes in the second one. So almost 90 minutes logged in 2 games. Nice job, Jalen. But yeah, they've got some older players. Him and Terry Miller Jr. leading the way. And Miller had 25 in that win over Idaho State. So kudos to the Vikings. I mean, getting 2 road wins to open conference at 2 tough places to win. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I am too.
First of all, John Slika, welcome to the show. We're excited for you
Yeah.
joining us right
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to congratulate Portland State for those 2 wins that you just mentioned.
All right.
Well,
Well,
good
thanks for
timing.
joining us, John. Have a good evening.
now. That's all it's here for.
Yeah.
The Portland State portion of the show.
Yeah.
Upcoming this week here, if we want to look at Idaho State and Northern Colorado, is definitely one to circle. I mean, Northern Colorado starts out 0-3 or 0-4 in league. The
Yeah.
alarm bells are going off big time in this conference. Portland State will be hosting Sacramento State.
No, it just means they'll have a lower seed in the Big Sky tournament.
Oh,
True. But let's keep things rolling over here, right up to the Big South. And Salika, since you joined us, how about the Big South Conference where High Point got up to this nice 3-0 start, but there might be another team from North Charleston that is worth a little discussion here, and almost was 3-0 as well.
Well, winning a road game at Gardner Webb helped got them their first win in conference play, and they follow that up with a win against a UNC Asheville team that was also expected to be one of the contenders. So that's going to vault them to a 2-0 start, but they fall a little short at Winthrop tonight. No shame in that.
Yeah, but
really
I was
isn't.
just,
And how
but they
much of
come
that?
off of that. Yeah, Griggs, they just beaten Richmond to end the non-conference season. Also, that's why I really started paying attention to this team.
Yeah, I mean, the win against Richmond was phenomenal, and in this game against Winthrop, which ended an hour or so ago, they had a lead for more than 30 minutes. I mean, it really looked like they were outplaying them. A lot of credit to Winthrop for recovering and pulling that one out, but oh man, and like if you look at Charleston Southern, up until a short time ago, they weren't really giving any indication of being able to play at this level to beat Richmond, to play that hard at Winthrop, to win the games that they've won. Um, why the sudden? Any insight to that, Rocco? Why the sudden, just noticeable uptick out of North Charleston Southern? I love calling them that, by the way.
Well, I just think the Big South in general is a little down. But they've played well. Like they're shooting, they've shot the ball well, they've defended well. Obviously,
Yeah, they did tonight. Yeah.
two, two, two great trades, but they end up falling to Winthrop late. I think it's a missed opportunity. Charleston Southern's also playing like blazing fast pace, top 30 tempo in the country. But I think tonight they got to play Winthrop with Barry out and didn't get it done. I thought that was a missed opportunity, even though it was on
Yeah.
the road. But yeah, I mean, a couple impressive players on the year. Tonight it was Sumler had 22, and a couple other guys have really stepped up for the Bucks, and so we'll see. Like to date, at least until today, it was them and High Point, and I think they can stay in that second tier group, which keeps them dangerous. But we'll see. I mean. They do have that road Richmond win as well, which really kind of got this whole process started with us being impressed by them.
You're right. And Winthrop would have been 3-0, except unfortunately they did slip up last Wednesday in the Winwood Cup game.
Yeah.
They lost to Longwood.
They were in a
Longwood's only
hole.
conference win so much so far. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, Chad Winthrop was in a hole against Gardner Webb too, which it's a horrible Gardner Webb team right now. And that was the game when Barry got hurt. But they were down about 20 points in the first half, and they somehow
Yeah.
pulled out of it and won by 11.
High Point put Gardner Webb into a hole tonight and filled it.
Yeah, this was
Or into a well.
incredibly impressive. The High Point has been obviously the class of the league, and what they did to Gardner Webb tonight, 104-49, was just probably illegal. But
I think it
It's
was
nice that
59. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say it's nice that Alan Huss left the program in good hands.
Yeah.
I think it was 59-15 the first
It
time I saw the
was.
score. Yeah.
Oh my! Oh, for God.
This
What-
is
what-
high. This is probably High Point's biggest week of the season coming up, though, in terms of regular season. They got probably the two toughest road trips back to back here. Saturday at Charleston Southern, next Wednesday at Winthrop. So if High Point is 5-0 when we do our show next week, I don't know where they're going to lose a conference game after that.
I agree.
Possibly Radford, unless they've already played them.
We're skipping the Missouri Valley
They
tonight on
play
the
Radford
grounds that
twice.
Valpo's swim team is getting way too much screen time right now.
We are not even out
Now,
of the Valley, Griggs. We are going instead to the Big West. And just for that, I was going to ask you about it. I said I'll ask Rocco about it. But the Big West Conference here, uh,
Mhm.
where, probably the notable game was over the weekend here. That big game, UC San Diego did take down Hawaii, gave them their first conference loss. And although Irvine's now sitting at 4-0 early in conference play.
Yeah, Irvine's been the consistent team, the dependable team, and they've been telling me all along they'll be dialed in by league play, and they've proven that. Obviously, they got the two early wins with Riverside and CSUN, but they went on the road last week out to Bakersfield in a hot Fullerton team, and they destroyed them. Took them. Fullerton's been, I think, one of the fastest teams in the country. They held them to 64, so that's a really good sign for Irvine because it shows me and everybody else that they're getting back to that lockdown, no transition points allowed type of defense, make you play half court. And Fullerton's been running wild on everybody else. I know they beat Santa Barbara just recently, and so that was impressive. And I think when it comes down to the showdown between Hawaii just didn't have their legs early in that game. They got
they
into a
didn't.
pretty big hole. UC San Diego ends up winning that one 83-73 in the end, but UC San Diego themselves, they also, had a Cal Poly loss on Thursday, so they were anxious to get back on the court to kind of get that out of their system. Big time win for Cal Poly, but then again, Cal Poly does their thing and turns around and loses to Beach. So, so it's a good league. Like I think the league's better, better and deeper this year. Maybe not as great at the very top like last year's dominant two teams. But I think there's like 8 or 9 teams that can beat you on any given night, and I think that
Uh,
makes the league deeper.
yeah. Since you went to him and not me, I'm just going to say I agree with that assessment.
Uh, couple, one, actually, probably the biggest game note here would be Saturday again. Irvine's going to the island to play Hawaii, so circle that game definitely.
Yeah.
Uh, to see
That
if
was
they
big.
can. Yeah, and
Uh,
they got the beach at home before then also.
I had started to give up on the Eaters, but what a start. So,
Also, keep an eye on Cal Poly and Northridge on Thursday. You've also got two of the top 10 tempo teams in the country right here. It's not just Fullerton that's going up and down the court.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think also on Irvine, Torian Lee still hasn't made his debut. He's expected to maybe return here in January, so keep your eye on that. He was a really solid freshman contributor, but really supposed to take a big leap here as a sophomore. His sister's an all Big West player for UC Irvine as well. Cool story. But if they get him back, I mean, they could actually go to another gear.
And don't overlook this game Thursday night where they're hosting the beach. I mean, this is their top rival. This is the black and blue
Yes,
rivalry.
Yeah, that's the
back
black and blue game. Yeah, that's
and
a fun one.
Beach is much improved as well. Just a quick thought on them is I watched Gavin Sykes now play a few times. He's a freshman out of Sacramento. He's playing like a all Big West player as a true freshman. So really exciting development for them. Peter Masterovich last week, the transfer from Syracuse, was tremendous as well in that win over Cal Poly, 25 points, I believe.
Okay. Let's jump over here to what are we up to the let me run a few here to the CAA, where we've got Wilmington, Charleston, and Hofstra all undefeated at the moment. Bill and Mary notably with the loss to Charleston on Monday night in that televised game that we were watching.
Wilmington held up their end of the bargain with a pair of home wins against Drexel and Hampton. And you look at Charleston, they get one on the road at Elon, who's also been somewhat tough. And then they get the home win against a Bill and Mary team that had been making some of the bracket projections during the past week. So good week for the Cougs.
It was, and Griggs, I've been saying this as we've gone to conference play that this Charleston team, who had been so hit with injuries in non-conference play, I thought they were starting to come together, and I think they showed that this week.
They
And,
did.
al- and also, let's not forget about Hofstra. They are
Oh, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
they're the first place team in the ACC after all.
Yeah, first place team in the ACC, off to a 2-0 start, and really, really looking good. If you can, yeah, like if you pull them up real quick. Um, so I think this game tomorrow. I still think I know Townsend's been kind of disappointing. I still think that that's a tricky sort of a trap game. They don't want to overlook that Towson's still capable, while they don't always do it, they're still capable of playing at a high level. And that's just the kind of road game that can be hard to win. I think they do win it, but they better not overlook them. But then after that, they should start to string together some wins.
Yeah, we've got the other games to look at here. Wilmington this week, they're going to be at Stony Brook and at Northeastern. Well, Charleston hosting Hampton, so
Should win that one.
we
Yeah.
might be kind of in a very similar situation next week. I'm not really. There's no. Maybe that game you mentioned, the Hofstra Towson game, might be the one biggest game worth circling for the week here.
Yeah. Townsend kind of disappointing this year, but still capable of playing well.
Uh, over in the Griggs, over in the in Conference USA, we've got Liberty and Middle Tennessee out to 3-0 starts in conference play. And while Liberty we expected to be there, maybe this Middle Tennessee is a team that we got to take a little closer look at here because they were
Yeah,
really impressive, especially that big win Sunday over a good Sam Houston team.
yeah. I mean, they eked it out by 1 point, but I mean, real impressive in their opener too, against albeit a down Louisiana Tech team. And Middle Tennessee had shown some signs of life out of conference as well. While they didn't win any games, they were competitive down, and I want to say it was whatever North League team event they were in. Uh, it was Murray State was there, George Washington was there, I forget, but they did get the win against Murray State. And they've kind of
That
had
was
some
that was the
moments.
Cayman
So
Islands Classic, by the way.
yeah, thank you, Caymans. So yeah, it's a good start, but I thought that were showing signs that they could have a big year this year. But as
Well,
Rocco frequently points out, it's tough to win on the road in this league.
yeah,
Yeah.
Rocco, four of their next five on the road, but I know you're with because I saw our top 10 ballots. I know you're with me that and paying a lot of attention to this Middle Tennessee team as we go forward here.
They've been impressive. Their only road win is at Evansville, so I want to see what they can do on the road. Great point by Griggs, especially in this league. But handling Sam Houston, at least squeaking out the 1 point win to get to 3-0. Great start in the league. Only losing by 9 at Houston, like big time Houston. That's a big time. That's an
Yep.
impressive thing to do at this level. The one poor result, of course, getting blown out by Belmont at home. I know they want that game back. But also getting a UAB, convincing UAB win in the Murray State win in the Caymans, like you said. There's a lot of good things happening with this defense, top 25 in effective field goal percentage defense in the last 6 weeks, and also shooting the ball very well from downtown, which is a nice development. Traditionally, McDevitt teams don't shoot it that well from the outside, so they've clearly made that a point here with this roster. But we'll see. We'll see. I think the jury's out just based on the fact that they got to get you don't really have a resume or a case to be a league champion until you win some road games. And I think that's the big problem with FIU. FIU goes to Jacksonville State and takes one in the shorts tonight. They've been awesome at home, but until they start winning some road games, I can't fully take them seriously. Although I love their young talent and their veteran guys on top of that, but for now, Liberty's still the bar, and I know Liberty just landed tonight in Ruston, Louisiana, and they'll be playing the Bulldogs tomorrow. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, both these teams have big weeks this week. Liberty at La Tech at Sam Houston, Middle with three road games at
Yeah,
UTEP.
tough games, actually.
Yeah.
Real
A
tough game
game.
at New Mexico State, and then at La Tech next Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this
Yeah.
Western Kentucky New Mexico State game tomorrow. I know that like those aren't teams that are keeping pace with Liberty at the moment. I just get the feeling that's going to be a really good game.
Mhm.
Uh,
But if you're also looking for other statistical oddities, Sam Houston had the second highest net in there, and yet they're still winless in Conference USA.
Yeah.
Surely that cannot hold true if they end up being 0-5 after possible home losses against Delaware and Liberty.
yeah, that was one of those weird nets based on some scores and opponents and a lot of non D1 games, so there wasn't as much data I saw. Also, I
Yeah.
think.
Beating Wyoming helped. Wyoming's been
Yeah.
crushing people, and they won at Oregon State as well, which it's a good road win for this level.
Yeah.
Rocco, let me stick with you here over the Horizon League, where after Oakland did suffer the loss earlier to Wright State, they bounced back this week with a nice win at Youngstown and win over a Robert Morris team that I thought would give them the game, and they didn't. While Wright State struggled to beat IU Indy. So Maybe this conference is getting back to where it should have been.
We'll see. I mean, I've been impressed as I typically am by Oakland. Campy's an incredible coach, and Taburu Navalura is the preseason player of the year. He's played up to that, I think. But the big stress test occurred a couple weeks ago when Nassim Mashour was lost for I believe he's out for the season. I was trying to get that confirmed, but one of the reports I read said he's out for the season. So that was a key piece, one of their best ball security players and a great three-point shooter, just gone. And so they've adopted, that first game back, they went to Wright State and took one, a tough one by 15. And then they bounced back with two really good wins at Youngstown and, like you said, over Robert Morris here on Sunday. So Oakland certainly still a contender. And with Campy, he's going to just continue to get them dialed in on that zone defense and put teams in a pretzel offensively. I do think Wright State has emerged of late as the team to beat, winning four straight games and three of those being league games. Now 4-1 in the league, and really hit their stride. Beating Milwaukee, beating Oakland in that stretch, I think has the Raiders just a
But
smidge.
how they
Just a
played
smidge.
against IU Indy really concerned me, though. That
Yeah.
they won the game, but
IU Indy's
NKU
playing
didn't
desperate.
exactly
They're playing
blow them
desperate.
out either.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Doug Gottlieb and his Green Bay team
Yep, playing
went at
Yeah.
better.
Fort Wayne, beat Milwaukee. We gotta we
Yeah,
gotta give him a little credit here. I
you
mean,
do. I mean, that's what we'll give him a little credit. But they are better than they were a year ago, and they're getting better as the season goes along.
Yeah, and he did step down from his radio gig, so
Yeah,
it's just a podcast now. And I don't know. I think in general, basketball wise, beating Milwaukee for them, who I don't think they have beaten in a while.
yeah,
Maybe when Sundance was there, I think they did beat them, but it was his
been a
first win
minute.
over Milwaukee. That means a lot for where they're trying to go and confidence wise. With one of the big things there is just getting people to come to the games, and that should get the excitement going.
Yeah,
big game Sunday. Wright State is gonna be at Oakland now.
that is a big one.
Yeah, rematch. Yeah,
Rematch already. Kind of strange to have the second game between two teams this early in the
I
conference season,
know.
but that's
Yeah.
the way they
Horizon
do it.
scheduling is pretty crazy. If you,
Yeah,
if
it
you guys
has
do.
been. Like, I don't know who's running the league office, but wow.
Uh,
Well, we'll also see how Green Bay does against the NKU because that's probably going to be their biggest test next week.
Stalika,
Yeah, NKU playing better. Yep.
Yeah.
talk about tests, Stalika. Yale did not get one. They took care of Brown easily on the road to start off conference play here, and the other scores as well. Actually, the Penn Princeton game ended up being, I think, the best game of that lot there when Penn was down huge and made an incredible comeback in the last minute and just fell 2 points short.
I don't think that's going to make Titel feel much better, though,
No.
seeing as how Princeton was the only home team that ended up winning their Ivy League opener.
It didn't make him feel better. I can confirm.
We get one game each this week. We'll see if Princeton is a real contender on Saturday when they're hosting Yale. And the other question, though, is can Columbia keep up this great start that they've had this season so far, hosting Harvard this weekend?
I think they can keep it up for one more week, but
Fair enough.
actually, I gotta get they won the first game. They got another winnable one this week. Maybe they won't completely fall apart this year. I'm starting to believe, which is about the point they fell apart last year. Once I started to believe.
Actually, I want to go to Rocco for our next conference because you went to a triple header from this conference last week, I know, and Metro Atlantic.
How about Merrimack? Look at that.
There we go. Merrimack and St. Peter's both undefeated, but this conference may be pretty wide open as well.
Very much wide open. I think going into the year, I had at least seven teams that I thought had a chance to win it. And now with the emergence of St. Peter's, maybe there's eight. So it's going to be a lot of fun throughout the year. Chad, you're lucky to be in the backyard of the conference there where you live. But yeah, great day. Merrimack started it off with a win over Sacred Heart that day. They continue to remain perfect since then at 5-0. The last game was the St. Peter's win at Fairfield. Just a really scrappy team, as you can imagine, with Bashir Mason leading the charge and a kind of a poor man's Seton Hall. Super fast guards, really try to push the pace and play in your face defense. It's working so far, but St. Peter's still has to play the best of the best in the league. I think they've had kind of a lighter go in their first 4 games. Quinnipiac like saw them beat
Oh,
Marist, but
yeah.
obviously falling to Manhattan, very shocking. That probably should not have happened. Quinnipiac's got 3 or 4 guys that look obviously Amari Monroe is the player of the year, but there's a couple other guys on their roster like McKinley and a couple of
there was an altercation in that game, I believe, and which
Yeah, both
that's
coaches
right.
got ejected.
Both coaches,
after which
yes.
Manhattan made the big
Yes.
comeback and to win that game. It was a great hell of a game, actually.
Oh, it was great theater.
Yes.
Wow, I mean, it was
But
incredible theater.
but
It
when
was
you
spurred
see
by it was spurred by a flagrant foul on I think it was Quinnipiac. Was it? I forget who committed it, but I think it was
Manhattan
Quinnipiac.
committed it. Tom Pecora, I think, lost his
Yeah,
mind, and then the
yes.
coaches went
got
at it, and
ejected.
then they both got ejected, and then they're both like whooping their fans up as they leave the court, and I'm like, this is great. This is like WWF level entertainment. This is just
I'd
great.
almost
And
forgotten that's where John Gallagher ended up after Hartford ended up
Yeah,
going back down to D3.
right. But yeah,
okay,
in the storyline was that Quinnipiac ended up blowing what appeared to be a comfortable lead.
Yeah, they shouldn't be losing games like that. They're
Yeah,
a really, really good under
they
the
really
radar
are.
team
Yeah.
with the talent at least. And got to remember Jaden Zimmerman hasn't come back yet either. Really their second leading scorer, averaged around 17 a game before his injury. I think they expect him back later this month, so should get humming again. And man, they've got some real dudes on that team. There's no surprise after you see them up close why they beat Pittsburgh by double digits, why they hung with UCF and ripped off a lot of wins in between.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think one other story here of note here. We thought Iona might be a team that makes a little noise this season. They had that win over Siena. What happened in that Maris game this weekend? That is not a typo on the screen there. That is an 83-38 final score, uh,
They were outfoxed.
Yeah. Oh
which
God.
vaulted Maris to the best net rating in the conference when you beat somebody that bad. I mean,
That is true.
Yeah.
I think they had
but
24 turnovers, 1 for 14 from three.
oh,
Those were the headliners. But there's a lot of stats like that. Put a tweet up last week. It was crazy.
upcoming this week, there's a lot of games here with the Friday, Sunday, Wednesday here. We'll keep a look at the conference front runners. Merrimack at St. Peter's actually on Sunday. That would be a first place showdown. And that Quinnipiac team at Sacred Heart, and then hosting St. Peter's on Wednesday. So
It's a
big
big
week
week
actually
for the
for big week for the
Peacocks. Yeah.
Peacocks, absolutely.
Mhm.
Uh, over in the Mid American Conference, Griggs, we have 4 teams that are undefeated so far. Of course, the story is Miami, Ohio, who is also undefeated overall, one of only 6 teams in the nation to do so, and
Yeah.
got that win over Akron. Held
And
on, got a game out of from Western Michigan, but held on Tuesday as well.
yeah,
And here they are, despite being down a player for the season, still winning.
well, you have to give, first of all, like I like this Miami team. Some people have commented about how I'm overly critical or beating them up. They were my preseason pick to win the conference. So I think that they're good. But part of their story is their strength of schedule or lack thereof. It's one of the 10 worst or 12 worst, whatever. It's in the 350s. It's low. And that makes you wonder, well, would they be undefeated if it were in the top 250? And Akron, a really good team, and they did beat them, but they beat them at home. And then they kind of sweated out Western Michigan. Now, they have a tough game this week at Toledo. I think they can win it. I expect them to win it. If you don't expect them to win it, then I think you're answering your question as to whether or not they're really ranked in the 30s and should be getting votes. If they really are the 30th best team or one of the 25 best teams, they should win that game. Uh, I think they can win the next three. And
Griggs, I got to call you out though. They have 7 wins away from 6 true road wins. That's among the top of the nation for true road wins at this point in the
it
season.
is. And well, you're just someone that values wins away from home too much, Chad.
I also note here that
Can you put him on the committee?
Yes.
that the second half of the Max Sun Belt matchups have been announced. They're going to get a road test game at Marshall, which
Yeah.
they didn't get Troy, but actually I think that Akron got Troy is going to be going to Troy. So, but
Okay.
Ohio at Marshall, I'm excited about that one come February.
Oh,
So
I am too. And I think this is a good team. But my question is, are they good enough to steer this course, to keep this up and place themselves inside the bubble? I don't think they are, and they're not. I don't even have them as the top ranked under the radar team, even though they're the only under the radar team that's actually climbing the polls and will likely get into the poll in the next week.
We're gonna get back to that when we get to our top 10 at the end of the show here. But as far as the
Yeah.
rest of the conference here goes, Stalika, this conference being in your backyard, we do have Buffalo, Kent State, and Toledo all undefeated in conference play early on as well.
And Toledo's going to have a matchup upcoming with Mother Miami that's going to be at Savage Hall up in Toledo. So that's going to start clearing some of the log jam at the top.
Yeah, that's a good game Saturday. I think Miami
Oh,
can win it.
Friday.
Or Friday, excuse me. I think Miami can win it.
And let's kind of Buffalo got out to a great start this season, and Rocco, they lost a couple games. Everyone forgot about them. Nice 3-0 conference start. This team might be right in this mix as well. You almost forget about them with the Miami Ohio story.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are legit, and Daniel Freitag's an all-MAC player that they got from Wisconsin.
Mhm.
I like the other pieces around him with Obo and Sable and Brizzy, and so I think they're gonna fight all year long. And obviously, a nice little schedule with Western Michigan, Northern Illinois, and Ball State to get 3-0. This road game at Ohio on Saturday. They've had a week to prep. Ohio just had that win over UMass. Pretty good game last night. But I would favor Ohio slightly, but I think we're going to learn a lot in that one.
Yeah, a couple big games on Friday though. I hope Miami Ohio at Toledo, Akron at Bowling Green, another huge game in this conference
Yeah.
Friday night.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be
Toledo's got a
going
big chance.
simultaneously or whether they're staggered starts for Friday.
I think it's 5, 7, and 9. Isn't it the CBS Sports package?
Yes,
Anyway, be
correct.
tuning into that. Yeah.
I'll try to get that confirmed here while we move
Yeah.
over to Stalik over to the Missouri Valley Conference, which we're going to update. Oh, actually, Bradley is actually destroying Drake here, but we our story in this conference changed as we've been recording this show because Valpo just pulled off a huge upset of Illinois State tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Let's go, Valpo.
Wow.
Go ahead, Salika first, and then we'll.
no, I was going to say Belmont got a much desperately needed win at Northern Iowa after they had like a pair of 1 point losses that's relegated them down to fourth place. I mean, that's also going to knock Northern Iowa from the ranks of the unbeaten, and it's already pointed out Illinois State now a game and a half behind the Racers.
Yeah, the other big story from tonight, Rocco Belmont with that win at Northern Iowa, very
was a big
impressive.
win.
After they'd suffered a couple of disappointing losses, Indiana State and Bradley.
Well, Belmont's been awesome on the road. 6-1 now in true road games, and they have a great resume of road wins with UC Irvine, Middle Tennessee, and Charleston on top of Northern Iowa now. So these guys are getting it done on the road. They've been snipped at home a couple times. But I think Bradley's a really, really solid team. Obviously, Tyler Lumblade running the show. Looking forward to talking to them tomorrow. Got an interview set up with them, so should be fun. But I think in general, right, they're going to be right there in the thick of the race through the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was Evansville was Belmont's other loss, not Bradley,
Yeah.
by the way. And quick note here also, that is a CBS Sports doubleheader Friday night in the MAC Toledo game, Ohio Toledo followed by Akron at Bowling Green, 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also think tonight another decent, UIC beating Southern Illinois, a little bit of a surprise as well.
Mhm.
Southern Illinois can play, so that's a tough loss for the Salukis.
Yeah.
Valpo going to Murray State on Saturday. Hey, maybe they can keep it up after their big win tonight.
Please leave the swimming team at home.
Mhm.
Oh, for-
Northern Iowa's at Bradley. Belmont's going to be at Drake. Then Valpo at Belmont also. Valpo doing that little ex-OVC team road trip there, I guess, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. So a few of the games coming up this week here.
It's a
Okay.
Saturday pup, and I'm sure their swim team will have a meet.
Good.
Chad, Murray State's won 10 in a row now.
Yeah, they have.
They
They
have.
haven't lost since the Caymans. Yeah. So,
I
on
thought
fire.
I thought Illinois State was the best team in this conference until I saw what happened tonight, and now, and with Murray State's win tonight and Illinois State's loss, I'm switched. I voted for my top 10 before that game, so I would have switched the two teams around where I've got them when we get there. But
Oh yeah.
uh,
Switch mine too if you want.
Yeah,
well, it's a little
mine
too
too.
late for me to switch the votes once I got this show going, unfortunately. But we'll discuss it when we come up to it. But over in the NEC,
Yes.
uh, we had a fun night to start conference play. We had a second.
Yeah.
There was a few more fun games actually over the weekend, but uh, the main story was LIU with the win over Central Connecticut to take the early conference lead here, Griggs.
Yeah, and those are, I think, who we think are the two best teams. They started off against one another, Long Island getting the win, and I don't know, the Sharks were the preseason favorite by a lot. I think Central Connecticut can keep pace and keep with them, but I don't know, like they beat who appeared to be the second best team, so good on the Sharks.
And I got to give a shout out to St. Francis in their final D1 season. Had their easiest conference game of the season, I believe, their home game against Fairleigh Dickinson. They won it in an exciting game on
Yeah,
Sunday. And unfortunately, that might be their last D1 win as a D1 program ever. I don't
yeah.
know. I
I
don't. I
don't know.
mean,
They
yeah,
still got a couple against Chicago State, so
yeah.
They get to play Fairleigh Dickinson on the road. Come on, Chad.
It's a
yeah,
road game, but that might unfortunately be their only D1 win this season. We'll see
yeah.
what
And I think we
happens.
also have to give a shout out to the New Haven Chargers, who for 48 hours they were a perfect 1,000% in NEC play until their loss on Sunday.
In fact,
Yeah.
their win on opening night went final first. So for about 20 minutes or so, they were sole possession of first place in the NEC. Didn't didn't quite hold up. But Central Connecticut this week is hosting Stonehill and at Lemoyne, while LIU hosting Mercyhurst and St. Francis. So I don't know that we see any movement in the conference standings until come next week.
Right.
Uh, Rocco, over in the OVC,
Yes.
talk about wide open conferences. I think this is another one of them. And I want to
Everyone's
find out.
lost. Everyone's
I
lost.
want to find out
Everyone's getting
if
lost.
you're on
Yeah.
the same bandwagon I'm on in this conference though, and that is the Tigers of Tennessee State.
Yeah. I like multiple bandwagons in the league, so I don't know if
Okay.
I'm eligible to be part of that game. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee State's been playing really well. I had them in my top 60 this week for all under the radar teams, and I think they've earned it. Little Rock's starting to get healthy. They go in there and beat them 84-79. That really impressed me. I thought Little Rock was going to start really emerging, and Tennessee State was the better team. They did have the one home slip up to SEMO, but besides that, really impressive work first year under Coach Smith. So I think this team's got a real chance if they can continue. Aaron Nkrumah, he's been possibly the best player in the entire conference so far. Arguably, he's number one on KenPom at this point, but I think Lindenwood is a team I've been talking about all year. They did take that first loss to Edwardsville the other night, 66-62, but they are playing still without Jadis Jones. Actually, Jadis Jones came back last night, but I don't think he's 100% yet. So I think Lindenwood is built to win this year. Their first year eligible. I've also, UT Martin's still dangerous for all the reasons we said throughout November. And SEMO, you can't write off SEMO. They've won at Tennessee State. They were the preseason pick for me, and their defense and their rebounding is getting better and better each time out. So I like looking at those types of metrics to see kind of where teams are trending towards. And SEMO's trending in the right direction. Them in Tennessee State, the highest in this league.
Yeah. The other thing that I kind of noticed, if you just look at the scores, the number of games that were close. So not only has
Yeah,
everybody had a loss, and while the winner of this league is probably heading, well, depending on who it is, the 15, the 16 line, or maybe even Dayton, and it's probably not good for the league to continue to eat itself up even more. It's good for the fans because, man,
yeah.
Uh,
Don't know what's going to happen in these
right.
games.
the two games to circle this week probably are UT Martin and SEMO, both with road trips to the Moorhead State team that's also after 3-1 start. So I'd kind of keep an eye on those games this week. Uh,
Yeah.
if if both those teams can get those road wins here, and they're also going to be at Southern Indiana, both of them. That's the travel partners. They should win at Southern Indiana, but
Yeah.
uh, who are we up to here? Sleeka, you want to go next here with the Patriot League?
Yeah, the United States Naval Academy opened up the new year with three wins. They beat BU and Bucknell at home, and also got a win against Holy Cross on the road on Saturday. And Colgate matched them with a pair of road wins at Lafayette and Army, and also opened up home play tonight with a win against American.
Yeah, and I don't really know that. I think we saw the
Great
two best
game.
teams go 3-0. I don't think we
Yeah.
saw anything really decided this week, kind of.
I don't know. I think
Rocco?
Americans played.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Americans been playing really well. That Ben Tweedy three here with 20 seconds to go bailed Colgate out. They're down two with 30 seconds left.
Hmm.
So American almost took over the conference tonight on the road. But they're right there at that level. They at least proved that. They've been just getting better and better. I didn't expect a lot from them. They had to replace their seniors from that great team last year. Navy's been the pick, as Stalika said. So certainly in position to win it themselves. Austin Benini, the clear best player in the league, and then also Aiden Quijos had a really good year for Navy. So I'll be watching extra close when Navy has to play American and Colgate.
It's been
Uh,
a 28-year drought for the Middies, but they have a very good shot at getting an auto bid this year.
Yeah, I think so.
well,
Yeah, they're built for it.
there's your game of the week coming up Monday night. That's probably the national TV game as well. They've got that CBS Sports game every Monday night out of this league. Navy at American Monday night.
Yeah, and
And
that's
you
a
are
good one.
correct. It is
Yeah.
on CBS. Yes.
Uh, Griggs, over in the SoCon, uh, it's just we've said it all season about this conference. Every time we have a team that we really really like, they fall apart, and we'd kind of been on the Furman bandwagon for a week or two, and they lose at home to Western Carolina.
Yeah, to Western Carolina at home. Which kind of makes you scratch your head. One of the teams that is sort of emerging is East Tennessee State, who, while they certainly have their warts, they're at least holding serve out to the 3-0 start. I'm starting to think that they've looked better than anybody else in the league at this point, and I still think Furman has potential. I still think BMI could be fun to watch, but I don't. Chattanooga's been super disappointing. It's been more disappointing than successful. But I mean, if you're going to point to a team uh that I do kind of feel good about, it's East Tennessee State, which probably means that they're going to do something awful this week and let me down.
Yeah, this has really been a down year in this league, Rocco. I'm really kind of sad that we've seen a lot higher level of play in recent years than we've had so far this year in the SoCon.
I took my sadness, Chad, and put it to the side because now we have nothing but league games. So the league can't
Okay.
get any worse. They're going to start beating each other. Everybody gets to win a game when they play each other. So that's good. And I think Wofford's been a good early story. A little bit of a mini showdown with Greensboro. They both were 2-0 earlier today. And Wofford just completely outscored them. They've been by far, and I get it, it's small sample size in 3 games, but by far the best offense in the league. So if you're looking for a fun team to watch, turn on the Terriers. They're playing way faster than anybody. Kamari Holmes has been a really good surprise. Obviously, with all the turmoil that happened there in the last 2 or 3 weeks before the
Yeah.
season started, it took them a while to get going, but now they actually look like a pretty good team. So Wofford, East Tennessee State, currently 3-0 each. Currently, trending towards. I don't know when they play each other, but that'll be a good one to watch. I also think with Furman, yes, they took that Western Carolina home loss, but they bounced back tonight with a really good effort at Chattanooga. Chattanooga's been a huge disappointment, but good on Furman. I know Cooper Bowser's been out for about 4 games, but his little brother Cam made his a big emergence debut tonight. So Furman, Paladin Nation, pretty excited about him. And I'm looking at those three, Chad: ETSU, Wofford, and Furman.
Okay.
And it's
Um,
just, at the end of the day, as disappointing as the SoCon has been, it's just good to hear that we're still looking at Wofford and Furman, one of the better under the radar
Yes,
rivalries. Yeah,
and they will play on the 17th. I was kind of looking ahead at maybe a trip to that. So
it's wild. If you can get
yes,
there, yeah,
yes, I have to see that at some point.
yeah,
um, Go over the Southland Conference. I know if you look at the standings, you see Nichols up there. Personally, I think it's been a product of their schedule more than a
yes,
product of who they've played. But uh, S- Rocco, let me ask you, McNeese, they passed their first huge test
nice win,
here
yeah.
with that win, that comeback win Monday night over SFA.
They did, but I think SFA is the story of the game,
Hmm.
mainly because they were
They
going toe
blew
to
it.
toe all night long. I mean, they were going to. They had the lead down the stretch. That's in this run. What is this, year three? Wade was there for two, and now we have Armstrong. No, none of the Southland teams have been able to go into that building and go toe to toe like that. That I can remember. Maybe it happened once, but that
Not
was a
like
great.
that.
That was a great effort. I think SFA is here to stay in terms of being in the race for the conference. McNeese already, of course, has the one slip up to Incarnate Word, so they're both 5-1. And if I'm McNeese, I'm a little concerned because the big advantage they have over everybody else is hosting the conference tournament. But that's starting to show that some of these teams have caught up to them to the point where they can realistically go down in a tournament scenario.
Yeah,
So I think that's the big story from the game, really.
yeah, and I
Wasn't
don't want
Bob
to take.
Huggins?
Okay,
I
first of
don't
all,
want to take.
Circle's February 2nd. That's the game at SFA.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
Circle.
Briggs, you first, then Salika.
okay, I was going to say I don't want to take anything away from McNeese because they did come back and get the win and do what they needed to do. And for a while, it was sort of disappointing. The energy didn't seem that high. The building was empty. I know that maybe the students weren't back, but this was probably their biggest home game, and it's like they forgot to unlock the doors. But I don't want to. I know that this is a pessimistic way of looking at it, but is it kind of fair to say that SFA kind of blew this more so than like it was a great comeback by McNeese? I mean, you can have both thoughts in your head at the same time, I guess. It was a good comeback, but wow, SFA had that one.
All right, Stalika.
I was going to say, wasn't Bob Huggins also a rumored candidate for McNeese at one point? Now, don't get me wrong. I think they did make the right choice with Bill Armstrong here.
All right, upcoming schedule here. Ooh, gotta get that stop.
Yeah.
First place showdown Monday. Nichols at McNeese. That assumes that Nichols wins at New Orleans on Saturday.
That's a
McNeese
tough
should
game too.
McNeese
You
should
not
get by
assume that.
Southeastern. I don't know that Nichols gets by New Orleans on Saturday, although New Orleans has been a little disappointed since we got to conference play.
Nichols and New Orleans are only 63 miles apart and have never played in the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
Uh,
Oh, God.
how about the SWAC here? And how
Oh,
about
wow.
this is one
Wow.
of the great under the radar stories from this past week. Arkansas Pine Bluff. This team, I believe, two or three times ever has even had a winning record at D1. Only one NCAA tournament appearance all time. They've been god awful the last few years. Not only did they sweep this week, but one of the teams they beat this week was Alabama A&M, which had been actually one of the best starts in the league. Uh, so, hey, maybe Pine Bluff is for real this year.
Well, they beat two of the better teams, or at least two of the
One,
teams that
I
we
don't know
thought
about
were the better
Alabama
teams.
State, but Alabama A&M definitely
Yeah.
did.
Uh, yeah, I mean that's that's a great start for Pine Bluff. I don't know if they can keep it up. They hadn't really shown a whole lot of indication of before that, but
Remember last year was the Pine Bluff Mississippi Valley games were the two games that we circled where this was our shots for Mississippi Valley to get their wins.
yeah,
mean,
it was, and like Centenary Award and all of that other stuff. Mississippi Valley State still, we love them. We love their announcers for sure. We love their Twitter handle. Their team needs to get better.
And I think one of the scary things when you look at Grambling, one of the better players they were supposed to get during the off season actually has never suited up because I think there was some kind of family emergency involved. So not suiting up for the Grambling Tigers this year, unfortunately.
yeah, but I'll tell you from this first week, I think Grambling, after the Pine Bluff story, Grambling was the most impressive, and
Yeah,
Grambling's
they
probably
were.
the team I'm going to be looking at here the next. I don't know if the Pine Bluff story is going to keep going. It'd be great if it does.
Yeah,
They're going on the road this week. They're going on the Texas Southern Prairie View road trip, which could be an 0-2 road trip, quite
yeah.
honestly. Uh, Grambling will be at Cookland. We'll be doing the Florida trip to Cookman and Florida A&M. Uh, but let's roll over here to the Summit League, where
Mhm.
where Rocco, we've got both North Dakota schools out to 2-0 starts, but
Tommy's.
St. Thomas should be joining them in a few minutes here. They're up big on South Dakota late.
Yeah, well, St. Thomas has got the beautiful new arena. I watched the game against Denver, and Denver's no slouch. Like Denver's way, way improved. They have a superstar in Carson Johnson, four starters from the Minnesota State, Moorhead roster, of course, where Tim Bergschroeder came from. So I like that Denver team, but St. Thomas, I want to see them get on the road. North Dakota, like the big surprise, they entered league play at 6-10, Chad, and they opened it up with two surprise. I think they're both surprising wins. I guess Oral Roberts was a coin toss, but they beat them by 11, and then to beat the Jackrabbits, that's such a big deal regionally. It was an overtime thriller. And I think there's some renewed hope in Grand Forks right now. They've gotten supreme offensive rebounding, and Zach Kraft is a deadly shooter. He had 7 threes last week in the 2 wins. So we'll see if North Dakota can stay, but I think that's the big story, at least for this week.
I agree with you here. Going up week ahead here. They're going to be at Omaha and at Kansas City. Two road
Winnable.
tests, but both very winnable games here.
Yeah.
Uh, the Tommies, on the other hand, they one road game at Oral Roberts.
But North Dakota State, beware, because they did have to struggle in two overtimes, and I think it was Oral Roberts at home, but now going to Kansas City and Omaha, not
Mhm.
gimmies, even if the standings would suggest otherwise.
Uh, Slicker, let
Yeah.
me stick with you over in the Sun Belt Conference, where Georgia Southern, our lone 4-0 team here, and in an exciting fashion too. That I don't know if you saw the game or not. I thought it was a really great overtime win last Thursday night at Coastal Carolina. I followed it up with a tough road win at Old Dominion on Saturday.
Yeah, the win against Coastal probably going to be the more impressive of the two. Old Dominion's been down this year compared to where they've been in recent memory. And we did touch on Marshall earlier because they're going to be Mother Miami's opponent in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. The Thundering Herd are coming off wins against Georgia State, App State, and a big road win at James Madison.
Yeah, that was a game just went final as we were starting the show here tonight. I was very impressed actually with the Marshall team. Uh, Griggs, I think they got Miami the right opponent actually. Not giving them
Yeah.
Troy or Arkansas State, but giving them this Marshall team.
Yeah, I think so too. So,
Not to mention one of their old pals from the MAC.
yeah.
Well, and the
Uh,
bummer was that Georgia Southern's not participating this year, so
Yeah.
they couldn't give
yeah.
them Georgia Southern.
That would have been the absolutely preferred opponent from what we've seen the first week or so. Although
Yeah.
uh,
Their net's
Ge-
not that great yet, but
the
yeah.
Nets not that great. They've been a red hot team though. They've won what is it like nine in a row now actually. Nine straight
Wow.
wins for
I
this
didn't
Georgia
realize
Southern
they won
team.
9 in a row. Wow. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Good away from home. So,
Uh, Upcoming this week, if we want to look at that Georgia Southern team, they're going to be at South Alabama for their lone game, whereas Marshall is going to be at Georgia State and hosting Coastal Carolina on Wednesday.
yeah. So Marshall should win both of those. Oh, it's the
Uh,
belt, the extension ladder conference.
Last but not least, here in terms of the regular conferences, Rocco, Utah Valley, we were singing their praises, and then go to
Oof.
Abilene, and
This league
it's
is
not easy
eating
to
itself. Oh
it's
my
not
God.
easy to win at Abilene, but the way they lost at Abilene was what concerned me.
That's a really hard trip, though. Thursday night they were at Tarleton, who grinds the crap out of you with Billy Clyde, Gillespie,
Yeah.
and then on 48 hours you got to get to Abilene Christian, which is in West Texas. I think it's a 5 hour bus. Not fun. Let's just put it that way. So, and Abilene's been a hungry and not a slouch of a roster either. It's a team that I called one of their games when they lost to William and Mary pretty badly, actually, down in Jacksonville. But Braden Hubbard's an all-conference player. He had a great game, 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. Phenomenal game against Utah Valley. And close to halftime, that juncture right before halftime and start the second half, Abilene Christian just owned this game and went from a really tight one to about a 12-point lead. And after that, I think Utah Valley just really started running out of gas. Not sure what happened to Isaac Davis in the game. He only logged 7 minutes, so something to monitor for future Wolverine contests. But I think in general, these games in the WAC with playing everybody 3 times, it's going to be hard and hard and hard. Last but certainly not least is the surprise out of Utah Tech. They are the last undefeated team in the league, and they won at Abilene Christian on Thursday. So just to sweeten their story a little bit, Abilene Christian made them look a lot better by turning around and beating Utah Valley. And so the Trailblazers probably not expected to survive. This is an 18 game gauntlet of a schedule. Again, you got to play everybody 3 times. But Tanner Davis, he's a 6'6" freshman, played really well in that game. Exciting development there. No turnovers for him. And we'll see if Utah Tech can continue to improve because their metrics are suggesting they can hang with the other five. And I think Southern Utah is a big outlier as by far the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cal Baptist, a
yeah,
team that, oh, I was just going to say a team that we really liked. I mean, we're voting into the top 10. Just not a good start. And
No,
I still think
it's
they
the
have the
travel, man.
potential. Yeah, it's the travel. And I
Kills
think
them.
they're going to turn it around. I don't think they're going to finish last. And this is a league that it's you get the sense it's already eating itself. And you might see the first place team with 5 or 6 losses.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think you will.
that
And
that
unless it's Utah Valley. Yeah,
Yeah.
that Utah Tech team at California Baptist at Utah Valley, their toughest road trip of the season, which they're gonna have to probably, I think they have to do twice, but the first time around for
Yeah.
that tough road trip coming up here this week, and yeah, that California Baptist team 0-3. Obviously, I think they get back into it though at
I
some
do
point.
too. I really do.
yeah. They played a ton of home games in non-conference too because they have a pretty good budget there.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
Let's jump over to some mythical conferences real quick here. In the Front Range, we didn't have any action this week in the Front Range. We still have Wyoming in first place, and no games coming up this week either.
Oh, we don't?
Unfortunately,
What
no.
about BYU Utah? I thought that was okay.
That
Maybe
is
that's
not a Front Range game, Griggs. That would
oh,
be a
that is a
Beehive Conference game,
Yeah,
and they
okay,
battle
yeah.
for the old Oak bucket.
Yeah.
Uh, where Utah Tech, by the way, is currently sitting in first place in this conference as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Trailblazers.
Yes.
Now we do have a bit of a crossover right now between the Front Range and the Beehive, where Colorado is up 4 on Utah.
Uh, big games come three Beehive games come this week. Southern Utah, Utah Valley, Utah Tech, Utah Valley, and the big BYU Utah game on Saturday. So
Yeah.
that's the top rivalry I think in this conference.
Is that in the NBA arena or oh no, wait, it's a conference game.
No,
It's
it's
on
conference,
campus.
yeah.
It's on campus. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, it's a Beehive Conference game. There weren't any
Yes.
back range games played this week here, where we got Arizona State, and New Mexico State tied for first. I think we got a couple coming up though. The Lopes at New Mexico and the Arizona State Arizona round one coming up this next week. So get a little movement there in the conference.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, up in the top range, we had Idaho with that big win over Eastern Washington, now being sole possession of first place. How about those Vandals?
Yeah, I mean, and you got to look at what a tough league this is. You got Gonzaga, you got the Montana State team that we talked about earlier. But Idaho just out to the 2-0 start. Wow.
And big home. They got both Montana teams at home this week, so we'll see what happens
Yeah.
here. Last but not least, our most mythical of all conferences, the Conference of Champions, where it's Arizona and Cal tied for first place, although Utah, Colorado going on right now is a conference game in this conference, Talika,
Yeah.
in addition to being a crossover game.
Yep.
Upcoming this week, just the Arizona State Arizona game, which is in conference game in three different conferences. How about that?
That's incredible.
I mean, that game counts as three wins, whoever wins
That's
it.
magic.
Yeah.
Let's go to our Hoops HD under the radar top 10 for January 7th. Sleeka, you did not get a chance to vote in the poll, but the other three of us did. We start with a few honorable mentions that did not quite make the top 10. Akron, High Point, Middle Tennessee, who we discussed, William and Mary, and Utah Valley, even getting a little bit of love still there for an honorable mention at least. But at number 10, Northern Iowa. Their loss did go final before we started the show, so
Yeah.
they fell a little bit. At number 9, Belmont, who beat them tonight,
Yeah. Nice win for them.
had a couple disappointing losses earlier this season. At number 8, how about that Hofstra team out of the
I
out of the
like
series?
this team a lot. I don't know why they've beaten the two ACC teams, and for some reason it still seems like they're sort of hiding in the shadows. But God, they're good.
UC San Diego falling a bit in the poll this week, down to number 7.
Yeah, had a rough
with
week.
that Cal Poly loss, yeah.
Mhm.
And number 6 is that Liberty team out of Conference USA that we discussed earlier.
Yeah, starting to climb the pole again. How about
Murray State
up
up
to
there at number
5?
5.
Yeah,
At number 4, Illinois State. This, again, voting was
Yeah.
before with the game. I think they would fall probably to 7 or 8. I think they're probably still in
Yeah.
the top 10, but They
Yeah,
fall a bit with that
I
loss.
would agree with that, but not fourth.
Number three, that McNeese team we just discussed.
Wow. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Now at number two, I gotta to mention something here. Rocco and I both voted the same team number one. Unfortunately, that team only ended up number two because Griggs, you voted them number seven on your poll. Uh,
Yes.
I am talking about Miami, Ohio. I get them not. You want to say they're number two or number three, but number seven, Griggs.
Well,
This whole thing
Illinois.
is a travesty and a sham and a mockery. It's a Travis mockery.
Well, I would have moved them up to 6 had I voted after the Illinois State game.
Unacceptable, Griggs. You may not get a vote next week. Number one, I forgot the drum roll, but there it is, the Yale Bulldogs.
Well, you should have had the drum roll for number two because we pretty much knew who the top two were.
Yep. But Griggs, number seven.
I mean, you look at McNeese, you look at Murray, you look at Liberty. I mean, you look at Hofstra. I mean, these are teams that have won harder games.
Well, you know what Miami has done? They've won every game.
True. Yeah.
Let's go to final thoughts here. Stalika.
I wish we had the show and tell that Titel gave us from the Miami Akron game on Saturday. I can only imagine this was the reason why Griggs punished the Red Hawks, but apparently he had a picture of a ticket stub where Miami, they still sell some of the hard copies, but they had some coupons that have been expired for over 6 years that they printed on there. So if you want to go to your local Culver's or local Skyline for a Coney, good luck trying to get those redeemed.
Somebody out there watching, try and use one of those tickets. Email us, Twitter us, and let us know how that goes. That's a great story.
Rocco.
Well, I'm gonna give a little more love to let's go with I got a lot of choices here, Chad. It's tough. I'm gonna go with Wright State.
Hi.
I know we touched on them for a little bit, but they won 3 games last week. It's hard to win 3 games in a week. We had a little bit of a funky holiday schedule in a few leagues, the Horizon one of them. But again, that road win at IU Indy aside, they still got the win. Obviously, IU Indy hungrier than anybody in the Horizon League, given their best shot. But they're leading the conference right now with a 57.5 field goal percentage on their possessions, and they have the second best defense in league play, only behind Milwaukee. And so I think if the defense can continue to lead to good offense, this Wright State team's got a good formula. Clint Stormer took over last year when Nagy took the Southern Illinois job, has carried a lot of those principles forward with a new twist on it. Struggled a little bit last year, but this Horizon League is wide open. And so I know those guys have put in the work both roster-wise and now with the defense. We'll see if it can continue. But just wanted to give a little bit of extra love for the Raiders. College basketball is a better place, as Talika can attest, when the Nutter Center is electric.
Yes.
Well, that and when the Wright State and NKU axis of power is at the top of the horizon.
Yeah. When the Nutter Center is electric, it is awesome.
Griggs, you want to finish the show off?
Yes.
If we're even letting you in your show after that top 10 vote.
I'll just say that I do like Miami's team. I think they're good. I think they're one of the 6, 7 best under the radar teams out there. But
You don't think one of the 6, you think they're one of the 7 best, not one of the 6
Yeah.
best. Come on.
Well, that was before the Illinois State loss.
Okay.
But they are the only under the radar team that's climbing the actual human polls. The AP, they're up to 30th. And judging by what SMU did and what some of the other things UCF, those are teams that are in the 20s that might drop out. We might see them jump up to 27, 26. They are close to getting into the rankings. It's been a long time since an under the radar program. None got in last year. I can't remember if anybody got in the year before or not, but
Yeah.
it's been a while since we've seen an under the radar team in the top 25. It's normal for under the radar teams to crack the top 25, or it was up until a couple of years ago, but it's been a long dry spell. And I am pulling for that to happen. I don't have anything against Miami. I like their coach. I like their program. I just don't like their out of conference schedule very much.
Okay. Yeah, I believe 2 years ago there was a couple teams that did crack the top 25. I can't
Yeah.
find that super quickly here, but I'm sure they're out there.
There were because last year we
Indiana
commented-
2 years ago, Indiana State was in the top 25 for a little while at least.
Yeah. Which means if that happens, Miami's not on this show anymore. They're
They're not.
they're on Monday.
But on that note, I do want to thank everybody for joining us. We will be back on Sunday night with another bracket rundown show, Monday with the Hoops HD report, next Wednesday with Under the Radar, and we're going to keep doing that all the way until championship week. But
Yep.
on
We're
behalf
on
of
every
David,
night.
David Griggs, John Salico, Rocco Miller, Bracketeer.org, I'm Chad Sherwood. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you again real soon.